You did it! You spent weeks leveling your rogue in TBC Anniversary realms. You're dreaming of destroying arenas, blasting in raids, and one day getting those legendaries. But now, Reddit is telling you you've made a huge mistake. Your character is doomed. You'll never get a raid spot, you'll be last on loot, and you're just a worse version of a Fury Warrior. But is that true? Is your character ruined before you even start? Let's break down the data and separate the myths from the reality. Now, myth number 1, rogues are trash tier levelers. The first thing you hear is that rogues are terrible at leveling. You're never gonna get world first 70, you're gonna get obliterated by the AoE warlocks, the mages, you won't even get a group. But that's only half true. You aren't an AoE farmer, but you are a specialist. The real meta for pretty much everybody in TBC is dungeon spamming, not questing. If you want to hit 70 fast, as a rogue, it is totally possible to join a melee cleave group. Think about it, an enhanced shaman, warrior, feral tank, a priest, and you. With no drinking and zero downtime, you will blast through the levels by really maximizing your real strength, never stopping killing ever. Now, myth number 2 though, rogues are useless in raids. Okay, this is a big one, because rogues, they have one utility ability, improved expose armor. That is true, but let's look at what that one ability actually does for your raid. That is a massive armor reduction. Compare it to their rival, the Fury Warrior. Yeah, they're bringing the battle shout, the thunderclap. But your improved expose armor, it makes every single physical DPS in the entire raid do more damage. Sure, you're not just bringing your B tier DPS to the table, you're unlocking the S tier DPS of the hunters, the A tier DPS of the warriors, the shamans. You're not a utility class, you are a force multiplier. Performance-oriented 10-mans, yeah, they might skip having a rogue, but every single 25-man in the entire game, they need at least one rogue to make their entire physical team pump. Now, myth number 3, you're just never going to get the gear. What about loot? Because this is really where the fear becomes the reality. Never mind what you see on a spreadsheet, because rogues are really often last for priority on almost everything. You see the insane Dragon Spine trophy, you see the Warglaves, and you think rogues surely should be priority, but not so fast. Most top guilds, they'll prioritize DST to the hunters, the shamans, the warriors, even the ret paladins, long before the rogues. And what about those Warglaves? Well, in most loot council guilds, they're now considered a Fury Warrior item. The first one goes to a Fury, the second one, even the third set of Warglaves, goes to a Warrior. So how do you actually compete as a rogue? Well, you skip the line. While everybody else is fighting for raid scraps, you need to become self-sufficient. You could interpret that as making your own groups, but you could also interpret it as getting insanely rich. See, rogues are the undisputed kings of a niche farm called stealth farming. You can run through instances like Mana Tombs, Sethic Halls, and steal literally everything. Mana Tombs is especially great. Every run only takes a few minutes, zero competition, guaranteed profit. It's the exact same reason everybody loves the Scarlet Monastery farm from my last video. You use all that gold you're farming to buy insane BOEs, and that is how you gear yourself. So myth number 4, you are just a worse Fury Warrior. So you're B tier DPS in PvE, you're last on loot. Why not just play a warrior? Well, because this time around in TBC, for one thing, everybody's playing a warrior. People realize they don't suck, so they're actually going to have more trouble finding a group than you as the humble IEA bot. And don't forget either, you're an assassin. In PvP, you're S tier, and eventually you'll even destroy those warriors. Sure, early on, when players have no resilience, the warriors will clap. But you know who else will clap? The rogue mages obliterating people from 100 to 0. And when you actually get those Warglaves, well, that is a literal cheat code for Gladiator. That is when you will demolish the very warriors who took all your raid loot. Now, myth number 5, rogues are just a bad main. This is one of the problems people bring up constantly with rogues, that you actually have to main them to get anywhere. See, rogues have to be ahead of the pack gear-wise to actually be wanted for raid spots, and they also have to be positioned to actually get all the loot they want. Nobody, hopefully nobody, is getting Warglaives on their ult rogue. That means you have to main your rogue, and they're just not very good mains, right? Compare them to a Prot Paladin, farming 800 gold per hour in Stratholme, main tanking raids, forming dungeon groups in seconds. Or look at mages, topping the meters, the kings of AoE farms, infinite money. But people don't realize how viable rogues are as a main choice. They are one of the best gold farmers in the entire game, they are awesome in the open world, they are insane with crowd control in the heroics, which is actually pretty desirable, and there's really no higher fun per hour class in the entire game than rogue in arenas. That means rogue isn't just a good main choice, it is a great main choice. So is this fear justified? Is the rogue ruined? The reality is this, if you're a casual player who wants an easy, guaranteed raid spot, rogue is gonna be tough. You played a rogue to be the king of heroics, stuns, saps, blinds, in high demand whenever the heroics are still hard. You play a rogue to be a self-sufficient ninja, farming hundreds of gold in stealth runs, while everybody else is out there begging for scraps. And you play a rogue to be the undisputed king of arenas. Rogues might not be the kings of PvE, but they sure are the kings of TBC. Your first week is critical. Get into a melee cleave group, crush heroics to get your dungeon biz, run stealth farming to buy your BOEs as fast as you can. Secure that one raid spot in a guild that actually understands your value. Do that and you won't just be fine, you'll be legendary. And if you want to know exactly how to farm tons of gold for TBC, check out my complete classic gold making guide right here. But I have to ask, are you still sticking with your rogue, or did all the doom postings scare you off? Let me know the real state of rogues in the comments.